Okay, so now we're back from the paint shop. You can see I didn't follow the directions exactly because I haven't painted the top part brown yet, but I wanted to let the yellow here harden as much as possible before I masked it off to paint that top rail. Just a couple comments about the painting. The first coat goes on very thin with these craft paints. It'll look blotchy, and but you just put it on very thin, which helps reduce warping. And while you're painting any of these parts, keep an eye out for any little glue blobs or any little pieces of fuzz or anything like that, and pick them off with a knife. Now is an easy time to look really closely. And then the second coat, when you put the second coat on, always brush in the direction of the grain, and it actually provides a real subtle grain pattern. At various points during building a model like this, I'll take pictures of it. I just use the camera that's in my phone, but I'll view them on the computer screen so it's blown up really large, and then you can see any little defects that are going to show later. So now we're ready to put the trim on. I'm not going to do all this on the video. I'll just show you the basic plan here. So step 19 is to peel and stick the side lower trim pieces. That's C1. So we got to find C1 on our sheet, which is over here. Just going to cut it away from the carrier. And this piece, you usually do have to cut the backing a little bit. We always make sort of the minimum cut with the laser so we don't scorch the edges any more than we have to. These pieces, you'll see with the paint, they're kind of flexible. There's no problem at all once they're on the model. So we're just going to peel the backing paper off. The only thing you have to be a little cautious about is to make sure that it's pushed up all the way against the top edge. So the slots line up with the corbels. We're going to push it all the way up against the top edge and press this part down. And then we're going to make sure that this edge just reaches the wall edge. So this one you can see is in a little too far. I can lift it up, it's not stuck yet. Get it lined up exactly with the corner of the building. Okay, and when it looks good, that does not look good. There's a big gap right there. Like I said, before you press it into place, you can still lift these up without too much loss of adhesive. Okay, I just push it up a little higher there somehow. Alright, and then line up on the edge. And now we're going to press it into place. Alright, and then we're going to do the other side. So then we are going to put the front lower trim, which is part C2, on the front of the building. So C2. I should say here that usually there's some paint kind of gummed up. It's actually paint on the adhesive. So sometimes you might want to just knock down that little paint. This is going to get covered by the next piece anyway. And this piece says it should overlap the side trim pieces. So if we push this all the way up, like we always do, make sure that it's pushed all the way up, and we align it with the corbels in the middle here, then it should overlap the other side trim there. You want to line it up as perfectly as you can and then press it into place. I'm just using a square wooden piece that I have. So I filed a point at one end, but this is a job for the flat end. So that's basically how the trim goes. There are a lot of trim pieces, and again you can see that maybe that there's a little bit of paint and adhesive. So I just take the knife and it very lightly cut along there, and those little pieces will come up, leaving you a very smooth, sharp edge. So that's putting on the trim, and then when you're done putting on the trim, you can see the corner, there's some sort of unpainted trim showing. You're just going to touch that up with the brown paint, and since I knew I was going to do that, that's another reason why I didn't paint the top yet. So you just continue on until you've attached all the dark brown trim.